Evening. Today we're going to talk about two pairs of shoes. These guys from Butora, the Acros, which I've had for a while, and the brand new shoes from Madrock, which are the drones. I've had these for a month. I think they were just released last week. There's very few details about them, but we're talking about two fairly aggressive shoes. Whilst I was thinking about making this video, I decided to go through and I figured I'd explain a few things to you guys. One, I've been climbing for 28 or 29 years, so I've gone through a lot of shoes, and I figured I'll put a little blackboard up here. It'd be kind of fun to go through. I made a list today of all of the shoes that I've owned, and this is by no way, shape or form a comprehensive rundown of the shoes I've owned. But the first shoes I started climbing were Boreal. I lived in England. Boreals are easy to get hold of, and they were the Aces, which are the black and green ones. So bonk. Then when they ran out, I went for the maroon Aces, which are great, and I'm going to go through brand by brand really quickly of all the shoes I've owned from every single company. Then I had the Lasers, which are probably one of the best pairs of shoes known to mankind. They were the black and the purple ones. Jerry Moffat climbed a whole bunch of really hard boulder problems back in the day, and those still one of the best, still one of the most comfortable shoes on the planet. Then I had the Matrix, whatever. The Falcons, which we had for, I used to run a different website, had the Falcons. They came in for a review, I bought them, and I think they were so soft that I couldn't deal with them that I gave them to Chris. And then the Stingers, and if you remember the Stingers were shoes that Ben Moon wore way back when he was doing, I think probably maybe Black Lung, which was 8A, and it had, in the heel they had holes, which is really interesting. Then we go for Red Chili, because I was thinking about climbing companies that have sprung up over the years, and the only couple I could think of was Andrea Baldrini, Red Chili, Butora obviously, and now Soil. There's a few others, but they're hard to get in Canada, so forget it out. But Red Chilies, I think I had a pair of Gen 1, I think maybe Durango's, probably a different name. They were neon orange, and they were Velcro shoes, and they were really great, and they actually delaminated between the sole and the toe, so they gave me a new pair. And then I had a pair of lace-ups after that, and I went searching on Google trying to find all the old Red Chili shoes. I couldn't find them. Sportiva, now this is going to be fun. The Mura, I've had a bunch of the Muras, again, like the Lasers, one of my favourite pairs of shoes, but the Mura women's are the ones that I actually wore the most because they had some padding around the heel cup and it was slightly more comfortable. Then I had the Mura VS, which is the Velcro version. The Solutions, which I bought, everyone was wearing them. Oh, they're the best shoes ever. Fucking hate them, can't stand them. Mantis and Scorpion, so we're going through. Then we go to Scarpa, Reflex, Vapor V, which weren't actually mine. A friend of mine left them at my wall when I used to live, when we had the big cave. Left them at the wall, and I just stole them and wore those. And I've still got them, they're kicking around, I'm still wearing them. And the Boostic, pretty cool, asymmetric, really nice shoes. Then we go into 510s, and this is going to be a long list. Anasazi VCS, which is the Anasazi Velcros. The Blackwing, the Dragons, the Team 510s, the Moccasins, the Projects, which are way too soft and no one should buy those shoes, and then the Jet 7s. Now if you talk about the Anasazi lace-ups, which is one of my go-to shoes, I have a number of go-to shoes. Sportiva Mura, great shoes, women's version, great all-round shoes. Same thing Anasazi's, because there was the pink, the green, and then the white version. Got all of them sitting in the cupboard, still use them. Best shoes, probably still the shoe that's climbed the most 514s in the world. Great shoe. And there was a pair of 510s, and I was looking for them for ages, and I had to actually go to a website that I used to run, or a blog that I used to run about climbing shoes, the Rock Wrenches, which had this chiseled toe on them. They were really great, but the lace, because they were lace ups, the pull on the laces ripped really fast, so I never really got, I love the shoes, but they were comfortable, and then crap. Then we go to Madrock, The Sharks, which I've had a whole bunch, bag out by half the size, so I always buy them in like an 8, and then they bag out a little bit, and I give them to Chris because Chris has got bigger feet than me, and he gets free shoes. The Pulse, which is sitting up over there, I use those for full running when I'm actually doing anything below V4 when I'm route setting, and obviously now the drones. Butora, obviously, the Acros, Arcos. I always get it wrong. Always get it wrong. Acros. And then Evolve. There was the K-Lace, the Predators, and the Chaos 2. So I've had a lot of shoes, and this is by no means a comprehensive list of all the shoes I've actually owned. I just went through, and today I sat down and I was like, alright, I'll try and remember all of the shoes that I've actually owned by company over the years. And there's some other ones. I think the Andrea Baldrinis were probably the Apaches. You know, like I remember getting the Team 510s going, oh, these are going to be amazing, and they sucked. The Projects from 510 sucked as well. The Sharks were great for a while from Madrock, but they bag out, they stretched, and then I had to give those away to Chris. Same with the Falcons from Boreal were too soft, so I gave them to Chris. So I'm actually quite particular about my shoes. It doesn't mean I don't wear a lot of different brands and a lot of different shoes. I'm actually quite particular. Yeah, I'm wearing different clothes because I got sidetracked by something else when I was recording this the other night. So, we'll look at the Acros first. These are the first shoes I've actually had from Butora. Little Butora logo, lots of rubber across the front, and as you can see, they're really actually nice looking shoes. You're probably looking at maybe 4 to 5 mil of rubber with a scooped out section underneath. And what's really nice with these shoes is a number of things. One, you've got a number of different areas all the way across here to actually cinch the shoe to your foot. You've got a double pull tab, which is what you want for a pair of shoes like this. You know, remember trying to get your 510 moccasins on, and then what you have is a nice padded interior with a pull tab actually at the side. I said earlier there wasn't a pull tab, but there is actually a pull tab. I missed it, I forgot it was there. It's actually, rather than being front and center, it's actually off to the side. So when you're pulling, you actually pull up and on. Really nice heel. Like, these shoes are actually really comfortable. They're hard to get on, but once you do get them on, they're actually super comfortable, and I don't have to take them on and off all day. I can put them on, and I do, you know, undo the velcro and stand on the heel, which is really nice because the heel, you know, it's much, you know, it's thin rubber with thicker rubber, but you get on it and it's actually comfortable to walk around like you're wearing a pair of slippers. So they're actually really super comfortable and actually not that heavy. These are the and these are actually the narrow fit, and these are actually to my street size. If I check really quickly, no, sorry, these are actually half a size up on my street size. If we go for the drones, you're looking at something like this, which is slightly more aggressive. Like it's you know, it's much of a muchness. If I actually get the same shoe, it's actually much of a muchness. And these are the HVs, which is the high volume rather than the low volume. So I'm narrow fit in the Acros and I'm high volume in these, because my pulses were actually high volume. And I spoke to the guys from Madrock Canada when I was actually buying these shoes to actually see. Not as much rubber up on top. Again, Velcro closure. Less area actually for the Velcro to do up, where the Acros actually goes a little bit wider. And then you come through, lots of rubber up underneath, like all the way through on the side here where we're talking this. And then the heel has one of those classic Madrock heels, which is, it has an edge on it. Now if you look at some of their old shoes, they had these kind of like serrated things, or like the Sharks actually has a rib, and it really doesn't help for heel hooking that much. So when it comes down to, like I said before, shoes are a weapon, and they really are a personal preference as to what you like and what you don't. And then you look at the actual inside, nice padded, good pull tab and elastic over the front to pull through. Now I bought these at a, let me check it, These are an 8.5 as well, after talking with the guys an awful lot, and actually after wearing them for a month they've bagged out and I'm actually starting to get a bit of heel slop, like, well, not heel slop, I'm actually getting a bunch of, like, my foot's moving a little bit, so Chris will actually be getting these because they've gone a little bit to me, and like, you know, if you look at the inside, these shoes are brand new, but I've climbed in them an awful lot. You know, I've actually done Chris a favour, I've actually started wearing these in, I've actually just started running off the edges. When you look at the rubber, and if you actually look at the profile, they've both got these scoops. They've both got these scoops actually up underneath. There's some actual extra ventilation on the Acros. The Acros is actually a little bit more scooped than the drones, but it feels like they also have an awful lot more rubber actually up under your toes. So when you're actually standing on your toes, they're actually a little bit, you know, they give you a little bit more power. Now, this is going to sound really strange, and I said before I was very particular with my climbing shoes, and I am very particular. The Acros are actually harder for me to get on than the drones. Like, the drones are super easy on, super easy off. They're actually very, very, very comfortable shoes. These are slightly less comfortable, but by, like, you know, maybe 1 or 2%. Like, you're not talking a massive amount of, you know, oh, these are super painful, and, you know, get a pair of, try these on, try on a pair of Solutions, you'll find dead spots, the heel won't work, you know, the things. I've got no dead spots in these, and I've got no dead spots in these whatsoever. And they both look like they've got the same amount of rubber pretty much under the toe box. And if you go look at Madrock Canada, they have these shoes on there. If you go to Madrock USA, they don't. And there's very few details. They're not saying how thick the rubber is or anything. It's like, hey, here's a pair of shoes, high volume, whatever. Same thing for Butora. There's very few details on the website about specifications, whether it's asymmetrical or anything else. But these, you know, these are both really good pairs of shoes. I climb a lot of steep rock. Now, when it comes down to what I say is the better shoe, it's a personal preference for me, because I climb better in them and I'm more comfortable in them. And I suggest you all go around to shoe demos at your local gyms. There's, I believe, Madrock's coming to Montreal for a week, doing nothing but shoe demos every single night. So you can go through and try the shoes. And Butora's been doing a lot of shoe demos in North America and around the place. I've been seeing it on Facebook. They've been doing a lot of shoe demos. My personal preference are the Butoras. And it's going to sound weird, I know. These guys heel hook really well, they climb really well. Same with these. These are just as good. They climb better than these, for me. And that's the thing, you have to remember it's a personal preference. I find these shoes actually, despite the fact that the rubber feels like it's about the same thickness as the Butoras, yesterday when I was climbing in them, because, you know, it's been 2 days since I started this video, when I was climbing in them, after 6 climbs, and I've done this a few times, I climbed the same 6 climbs in these shoes, in the Acros, and I climbed the same 6 routes in, I climbed the same 6 routes in these shoes, and I climbed the same 6 routes in these shoes. These make my feet tired, and they feel a little bit like, not like the Boreal Falcons or the 510 Projects, which are super soft shoes. They're a little bit too sensitive for me. Like, I've been climbing long enough that I know where my toe is, and it's fine. I actually found yesterday when I was climbing, my feet were actually tired from wearing these. Also, my feet get quite hot. You know, there's, you know, despite there being a lot of ventilation up on top through the material, they are primarily a very, you know, it's, you know, they're climbing shoes. They're just made of rubber. You know, it's rubber and synthetic materials. You know, after every climb, I was pulling them off, dropping the hill, standing on them, or I was just taking the shoes off, which is very unusual for me. Normally I just put my climbing shoes on and just climb. You know, even when I'm belaying, I've still got my shoes on in some shape or form. But for some reason yesterday, these guys were like, just every time I stepped on something, whether it be like a massive jug, I just found it was actually hurting the underside of my foot. And there's no dead spots in these for me, even though they have got a little bit bigger. I just felt like there was, no, it was just a little bit too sensitive. Whereas climbing in these, the Acros feel more precise for me and the way I climb than the drones HV do. And what's interesting is I've been climbing these for an awful long time, and I'm really not taking the edges off of them. I just find these my preferred weapon, my tool, what my go-to shoe. Now, when I'm running at the gym and I'm setting routes and I'm setting anything above, you know, anything above 4, because 4 I wear my pulses. I wear basically beginner shoes so I can kind of mimic what the climber's doing. If I'm climbing anything steep, I go to these, and if I'm climbing everything else, I either wear a pair of Sportiva Muras or I wear a pair of 510 Anasazis. You know, I've got 4 or 5 pairs of shoes, and it depends. And you shouldn't have to change your shoes for the rock or for what you're climbing. And I've been generally finding most days I've been going to these shoes more than my 510 Anasazis. There's no dead space in the heel. They heel hook really well. You know, the one downside is they're a pain in the ass to get on compared to the drones, compared to a pair of lace-ups, compared to many other pairs of shoes that are actually out in the market. But when it comes to it, the Butora for me is actually a better shoe. And if you go to the Butora website and actually read the reviews, you know, there's a lot of people saying, hey, solutions, I'd rather wear a pair of Butoras. You know, it's not just me saying that, it's actually other people saying that, which is actually nice. They're a new company and they hit it right straight out of the park. You know, it's the first shot, first pair of shoes I've had from them. You know, if you look at my all-time favourite shoes, it's the Lasers from Boreal, the Stingers from Boreal, the Aces because that's a little soft spot in my heart, the Muras, but the women's version, the lace-ups, the Anasazis, lace-ups, and these. Oh, and maybe the Scarpa Vapors because they're actually really quite nice intermediate shoes. But yeah, if you're looking for a pair of shoes, I recommend, for my personal taste, you get a pair of Butoras. They're new and they're pretty good. But again, like, there's going to be no solid conclusion to this video. These shoes, you know, the Sharks are great, they stretch. These are great, but they've stretched a little bit. These are really great shoes as well, but I find them a little bit too sensitive. Easier to get on, but a little bit too sensitive for my feet. No dead spots, great at heel hooking. I don't know why they do this on the heel. It's one of my pet peeves. They could just get rid of this stupid ridge and just put a heel cup. Easy on, easy off, comfortable shoes, but they're a little bit too sensitive for me. Maybe because of the way they're built, or maybe because of the last, but they seem to hurt my underarch, and the ball of my foot seems to hurt when I wear these. So for me, buy a pair of Butora Acros, but these are very good shoes as well. See you soon. Stay beautiful.